So this video is kind of important because it's about financial freedom. And I spent the last 15 years figuring out how I should be managing my money, and not in a reductionist way of, oh, how do I make money with this options trading strategy, but in a holistic way of how I should be dealing with my finances with my spouse. How do I manage money that's coming in, going out? What's the wealth building plan looking like? What beliefs should I be adopting about money? And so really I spent the last 15 years doing that. And the reason is because my parents, as successful as they were, never invested their money. And over a time span of 50 years, you can imagine how big of a difference it made, and you can imagine how hard they work to earn their money, only for it to be eaten away at by inflation, only for them to be able to live a very, very humble life in their later years. And so when I graduated university, I set out to figure out kind of the best path forward, and I've zigged and zagged on my own path, right? From looking at different philosophies to different strategies. I've tried pretty much everything, and I think I'm on a good path. And so today I want to break down 4 principles towards financial freedom that I live by this very day, that I spent the last 6 months formalizing into words, because it's just been how I've lived, and I've never really try to describe it to anyone. And so I spent the last 6 months really thinking about what financial life I'm living, because it's kind of important, right? A good financial life allows you to live life on your terms. It allows you to fire your micromanaging boss. It allows you to do work you actually enjoy, but most importantly, it allows you to give your family, your loved ones, the life you believe they deserve. And that's why I set out on my journey. I don't know about you. And so let's go. It's important, right? So the first principle is cash flow clarity. You have to know how much money is coming in, how much money is going out, and this is not tracking every dollar on a budget. This is having a sense of your finances, what you should be spending on, what you shouldn't be spending on, whether you're intentional with your money at all, whether the financial life that you're living is congruent with your financial income, right? The money that's coming in, right? Some people are living lives that are way too expensive or frivolous compared to their actual incomes, and you really want to understand the motivations behind why you're doing that, right? And there are several, right? Maybe you come from very little, and so the moment money comes onto your lap, you're afraid that it might disappear, and so you should spend it, right? Because you should enjoy it today, because you don't know when it won't be there anymore, right? Or you come from very little, and so you're saving. You have a 90% savings rate. I've had that experience before, because you're uncertain about the future, right? One day everything might disappear, but as a result, you're really sacrificing your current standard of living, which also isn't good. And so cash flow clarity is not just about budgeting properly. It's about being intentional with your money and your purchases. But it's also about building this awareness of not having waste, right? Why not negotiate your phone bill when you know a phone call can save you hundreds of dollars per year, right? And so it's also about access and awareness and information about the different ways that you can put more in your bank account without necessarily sacrificing your lifestyle. And so that's cash flow clarity. The second principle is building your wealth thesis. And so this is really about looking backwards. I mean, in education, teachers have this design philosophy called backwards design. And it's really about thinking about where the students should be at the end of the learning experience, and then backwards planning the steps required to get there, and then getting the students to do that. And we apply the same framework in personal finance, right? So at the latter years of your life, if you've retired, what kind of life do you want to be living? Like, what's your ideal day, right? And I thought about that for myself. I was like, you know what? I want to spend an extraordinary amount of time with my family. That's just me. Maybe some people want to work, right? Some people prefer work. Some people don't have kids, right? But that's not me. And so in order to do that, well, then I need a financial safety net, right? Whether it's $2 million, $3 million, $5 million. Like, what is the amount of money that if you had in your bank account, you could reasonably withdraw and it will sustain you without harming your standard of living for the foreseeable future? And then how much money do you need to invest every single month, and in what do you invest in to reach that goal? And so that's one side. That's the side of building wealth, right? And then there's the other side of getting rid of negative net worth. Maybe you're in debt, and I've known people that are in debt. My sister's in mortgage debt, right? But more than half of Americans are in credit card debt. And so what are the best ways for getting out of debt? Is it just meeting your payments, or are there actually other ways? And so it's a combination of a thesis being an argument that should be persuasive for you to take a certain set of actions towards a desired future. It's a combination of that and an awareness of the different strategies and tactics that work. And one thing that we want to optimize for here is reliability over time. A lot of people, when they think about investing and building wealth, they want to maximize returns over the short term. That's not what we're about. We're all about reliable returns over the long term, because then life is predictable. I mean, life is never predictable, but whatever predictability we can hold on to, then we better hold on to it, right? And so with cash flow clarity, right? Once you know how much money is coming in and out, and you're spending your money intentionally, saving intentionally, then we want to invest and build wealth intentionally. But a lot of the time, building wealth is this rational process of doing what makes sense. And if you've looked at the stock market at any point in time, you'll know that sometimes it does not make sense, right? Sometimes you get caught in the mania of buying and selling stocks and making money here and there. And so the third thing we want to protect against is ourselves. And so the third principle is the big four automation. And so what are the big four? It's expenses, reducing debt, investing, and saving, right? And so we want to automate 90% of that. And so doing so removes you from the decision-making equation. It prevents you from making rushed or wrong decisions, and it saves time because you only need to review and adjust your cash flows, automatic cash flows, really annually or every time you get a pay raise. And so when it comes to money, we are our worst enemies a lot of the time, because we are biased, right? We have inherent bias, implicit biases that we have no control over. And if we account for that, then we can start truly building wealth. And so what is the system for motivating good behavior and the system for disincentivizing bad behavior? How do we make it hard for you to do bad things and easy for you to do good things with your finances, with your money? And so if we have these three in place, right? You know your cash flows, right? What's coming in and what's coming out. You know the exact path to financial freedom or to building wealth. And you have the ability to implement a system to make it happen on autopilot. Then the fourth principle that you need to adopt is a principle that will allow you to not screw all of that up, right? And so in order to do that, then you need to adopt the identity of someone that builds wealth, someone that cares about their finances and what it can do for them, right? And so you need to develop a philosophy, right? A financial philosophy. And so doing this will center your practice on sound money management principles. Whether it's believing that money is abundant or that you deserve money or just trusting yourself that you can meet your financial goals, all of these beliefs form the foundation of your identity, and we act in accordance with our beliefs. And so if you believe that you will have a better financial future, you will unconsciously work towards that goal and do so happily a lot of the time. But if you are in a place of scarcity, right? Like if you're driven by fear, right? And that's not your fault, because what happens if you don't study in school? Well, you get a bad grade. And what happens if you get a bad grade? Your parents get angry, right? And so you're driven by this fear of disappointing the authority figure. And so that's why you move forward a lot of the time. But for the first time in forever, when I realized that I could take my own future into my own hands, that I didn't have to impress anyone or disappoint anyone, that I owed it to no one to build my own financial future and my family's financial future, it freed me from the chains of judgment that I put on myself, right? Because of the other people around me judging me for like what I do and who I am and what I say and what I spend my money on. So free yourself from that by building the identity of someone that actively plans and moves towards their rich, free financial life. And that is the Freedom Planner. One thing that I want to add, this is definitely not some kind of get-rich-quick scheme. And so if that's something you're looking for and you're looking for like the best stock trading strategy to become a millionaire in the next year or something, or you're looking for some magic way to like delete all of your debt and be debt-free in the next 6 months or something like that, then click away, because this is not for you. This is about adopting a philosophy, a mindset, a set of behaviors combined with sound financial information that works for the long term. And it's about just the process of becoming a different person, not some quick tactic that you implement and then you live out your hedonistic fantasies. Like, that's not what this is about, okay? Just wanted to add this, right? Like, in my mind, I now have this aspiration, right? Aspirational identity of being a freedom planner, someone that is fully self-responsible for their future, for their financial future, someone that communicates joyfully with their spouse on all things money related, someone that is transparent with their spouse, someone that makes money decisions together with their spouse. We're on the same page. We're able to build shared goals, and we're able to communicate clearly and humbly and with love, right? Someone that's able to provide for their children, someone that can be generous and kind to the people that they care about deeply, and someone that has their feet planted in the firm foundations of a sound financial philosophy, right? So that the path forward is on steady ground. Like, imagine the level of confidence and the difference in energy that comes from adopting an attitude, a mindset, a set of behaviors that are self-reinforcing positively like that, right? And so if these 4 pillars are installed, practiced, reinforced, and refined in your life, you will become unstoppable on your wealth building journey. And just in case in the back of your mind you're wondering, like, how does this actually work? I just want to give you 2 examples. One client that I worked with, Aaron, was in $50,000 of a combination of personal loan debt and credit card debt. And we worked together to really shorten her debt-free journey by about 2 years, lower the interest rate that she's paying on all of her debt, And so this is also tactical, right? And so above and beyond all the philosophy and the beliefs and like how you should live life and rediscovering who you are, it's also about having the tactical knowledge to move forward, right? That is the wealth thesis. And I worked with someone else, Amber, who really at the beginning of her financial journey didn't really understand what it took to reach financial freedom. But we sat down together and we crunched the numbers and we figured out how much she needs to save every single month. And by the end of our time together, like she fully had a plan to reach millionaire status reliably. And so if this is something that you'd like to learn more about and implement for yourself in your own life, click on the link below to learn more, and we'll go from there.